Welcome back. We are here with Warrior Goddess Training, and this is lesson 1. Commit to you. Don't ever give up. Don't ever give in. Don't ever stop trying. Don't ever sell out. And if you find yourself succumbing to one of the above for a brief moment, pick yourself up, brush yourself off, whisper a prayer, and start where you left off. But never, ever give up. Rochelle Goodwitch. That is a beautiful little quote. I like it. I like it. Okay, so we are in Warrior Goddess, lesson 1, and this is commit to you. So, commitment. It's just commitment. Can you think of all of your commitments? Like as women, and I really have worked hard over the last couple of years to remove the identity of sex from most of my talks, but this one I feel like I still need to do it with. But like, women have like all kinds of commitments, and some they put on themselves without even being asked of it, and other times it's like self-assumed. You are the daughter, so therefore you must do this. You are the wife, the partner, the love, the mother, and therefore this is your role because you are the female. But we also commit to hiding and exaggerating our flaws, trying to make others happy or comfortable at the expense of our own happiness and comfort, supporting other people's dreams at the expense of our own dreams, criticizing ourselves and others at every turn. We commit to who we think we should be rather than committing to meeting ourselves where we are. So again, we come back to that, like those roles that you are handed down because you were born a female, because you're a mother, because you're a daughter, that these are your tasks, these are your commitments, your responsibilities. We commit to seeing ourselves through other people's eyes, engaging our self-worth based on their acceptance rather than witnessing our own unique inner beauty and strength. We commit to being nice rather than being real, or we commit to being right rather than being vulnerable. And when the people in our lives don't behave the way we think they should, we sulk and mope, or worse, we get even. We justify our emotional outbursts or bad behavior based on the actions of others, and in doing so, we often act in the same manner as the person who sets us off in the first place. So when we give others the power to push our emotional buttons, we become their slaves, often without realizing it. The problem is that we are the ones who suffer. So, our first Warrior Goddess lesson is to commit to you. It is designed to close the gap between self-rejection and true acceptance, thinking and being, wishing and becoming. This commitment to self shows us that there is no hidden treasure or savior outside of ourselves. We are the treasure that we've been searching for. Or put another way, we are the one that we've been waiting on. Your commitment to this ideal is the activation of your warrior goddess power. When your words, thoughts, and actions foster self-abuse and self-judgment, then you're using your immense power against yourself. This type of emotional, mental, and physical denial can take many forms. Saying yes when you mean no, being in a relationship that doesn't nourish you, thinking and believing thoughts that drain your energy and enthusiasm, or eating foods that your body doesn't like. So committing to your true, authentic warrior goddess self is the beginning of a lifelong journey of living in authenticity. I love looking at my little notes. I've been working through this book since 2017 is when I bought this book, and I started this journey. So I have lots of notes, lots of underlined, different colors, and oh, it's so fun. This is years of work. So on here, let's see. I'm trying to see where I want to start this part. I'm on page number 3. So I'll say down here. So she says that as I've worked to release the old habits of I need to make sure everyone likes me, or I need to be saved, I've been amazed at the times by how deeply the patterning has woven through my being. I've been walking this new path now for over 20 years, yet life inevitably presents new and unexpected changes. And with each circumstance is an invitation for me to look within and to release whatever is still holding me back. It's like layers of an onion. There's just more to be peeled back. And every time I am willing to look within, I am so grateful for the experience, every obstacle, every learning, because I've learned to use everything that arises in my field of awareness as a tool to discover who I truly am. So what that means is, like, when something sets you off, ask yourself, like, what is this saying? Why is this affecting me this way? Asking yourself these hard questions like that. So the keystone to committing to yourself is very simple. Learn to love who you are, flaws and all. Doing this, however, can be a difficult thing. You commit to yourself to the same extent that you are willing to release the past and any ideas that you are holding that you should be different than you are at this moment. Our deepest healing occurs when we learn to be our own best friend, companion, and cheerleader. So one of the practices that I've done, and I've got a little note here about it, I think this was around 2019 or so. I was watching Grace and Frankie, the TV show, and Frankie was telling Grace how she would set her phone up and record herself talking to herself as her best friend and working through these things that was arising in her life with herself. And I found that to be a fabulous experiment to try. So I started doing it. And I absolutely love it. There are times that I've gone back and I've looked at the videos, and then there's other times that there's videos that I've never rewatched. There's times that I was able to talk, and there's other times that I just stood there and cried. But I held myself in those moments, and that was the beauty. So I'm looking here. This is a very important part, but I'm not going to read the story that goes with it. So let me contemplate here how I want to do that. So on page 3 and going into 4 and 5, Heather Ashe talks about how her husband left her, and she was devastated. And at the same time that her husband and teaching partner walked away from their partnership, one of her books was published. And so she was handed a guide that she wrote that walked her through this heartbreak, this new journey that she was on. A snippet of what she says here in that book, it says, "Have you ever had your world turned upside down in an instant? Or struggled to realign with a big change in your life? Or wished that some aspect of your life would shift? Being in a physical form means that you are constantly invited to adjust, to change, whether joyous or frightening, from your first lost tooth to your first heartbreak, from a child's graduation to the loss of a friend, from starting a new job to adjusting to a chronic illness. Life continues to flow, sometimes gently and sometimes not. Sometimes it abruptly alters the landscape of your being." How you adapt to the changes in your life can mean the difference between being in struggle and fear or sweet ease and faith. The simple truth is that when you fight change, you suffer. When you embrace change, you open to creativity, possibility, and healing. Change is inevitable, but transformation is by conscious choice. While you do not always have control over how or when things change, or when the changes will occur in your life, you can choose how you are in relationship to those changes. When you step towards rather than ignore, fight, or resist change, you claim your personal freedom and move from being the victim of change to being a co-creator of change. So you'll hear me say in my life, I'm just in the flow of it right now. I'm in the flow of it. And so what that means is when life is not easy, there's illness or injury or hardship, then I'm flowing in that river of life. But I'm working hard. I'm paddling. I'm trying to miss the rocks. But I'm still flowing. I'm still doing it. I'm still going through it. And I'm doing it fine. Where I used to be was when life shifted or changed or an illness occurred or whatever it was that happens. I would find myself lost and confused, ungrounded, not stable, shaken. What do I do now? Where do I go now? What? This work has helped me shift out of that into this grounded stability of myself. So that when things happen outside of me, yes, it affects me, but it doesn't affect me. It may mean that I'm just doing things different now, but I'm still me. And that's been the cool part. That's been a really fun part about this journey. So she asked herself, upon her husband leaving, she said, okay, what do you miss about him? And she said, well, she found that. What was the things that he brought to that relationship? And for him, it was the quiet, calm love and presence. So she said, well, how do I bring that to myself? How do I give that to me? She says here, as I looked around my house, I smiled, and I knew it was time for me to stop looking outside myself for the quiet, calm love, and to creatively commit to cultivating it. So over the next 6 months, she says, she externally cleared clutter, rearranged furniture, eternally slowed down, increased her meditating, and practiced being more calmly loving to herself and others. She did a lot of grieving, a lot of meltdowns, but at the end of each one, she still recommitted to her, to what she was looking for. So the point here that we want to make is, in this example, is that when we commit to ourselves, that we don't get to bypass our emotions or get a free, all problems go away instantly pass. We don't magically change into the person that we've been judging ourselves for not being. Walking the warrior goddess path is a process, and it's one that starts with the commitment to empower ourselves and to continues to ask us to recommit to our healing and truth every single time we face a new and often unexpected challenge. It doesn't end with one time going through this book. It doesn't end with saying once, I'm committing to me. No, you have to do that every single time. Every single time that you get knocked down, you got to get back up and recommit. Each time we recommit to ourselves, things change on the inside. Attuning to a new power. So we want to look at old and new definitions of power. So in this thought right now, if you feel comfortable, put it in the comments telling me, what do you consider power? Your power being. Typically, power is defined by how you look, how much money you make, who you're dating or married to, or maybe who your children are, who your parents are, or how you're progressing on your career track. From a framework of fear and scarcity, powerful people are the ones who have, in one way or another, acquired the most sought after or best external resources available, be that money, fame, or beauty. And many of us have spent years tied to this old model of power, where we rate our worth on how we are perceived or what we have attained. As women, we worry about how others see our body, constantly asking ourselves, are we pretty enough, thin enough, sexy enough? And since many of us have used our sexuality as a tool to get what we thought we wanted, we worry about getting older and no longer being attractive. The same can be said for money and social status. We may worry we don't have the financial means to do everything that we want to do, or that others don't recognize how important we are through our own career accomplishments or those of our partners. Even after we have acquired some of the things that we think we want, our struggle with power is still not over. Then we will then try to hold or increase our power by working to please others and controlling the outcome of situations. Or perhaps we stay safe by hiding in the background and conforming to the status quo, hoping no one notices the power that we have, and therefore they can't take it from us. But from a warrior goddess point of view, power is defined very differently. Power is not sought after from the outside, but is patiently cultivated from within. Power has nothing to do with money, fame, or outside appearances, but it has to do with our connection to self, to love, to authenticity. From the perspective of true abundance and imminent spiritual connection, powerful people are the ones who have the strongest connection to their internal resources. So the challenge is that we have to get honest with ourselves and identify where we are still identifying with the old sense of power. And so you might find that by saying, when you introduce yourself, oh, I am Christy Mayu. My father is, or my mother is so-and-so, or my partner is so-and-so. You identify yourself with these labels, these old beliefs, right? These old I guess labels is the identities. That's the word I'm looking for. Identities. Mother of, partner of, owner of, or these different things, right? Becoming aware of where we have pursued the old methods of power is not a call for more self-judgment, but rather an opportunity to release these habits and recommit. So don't judge yourself if you catch yourself doing that, but more so like being aware, just being aware, noticing, and then like, so I don't identify myself that way anymore. And even though I'm a business owner, and when people ask me what I do, I'm a yoga teacher, I'm a massage therapist, I'm a fairy. I don't even like to answer, what do you do? Ask me another question, like, what am I reading? What makes my heart sing? But is that a question that you catch yourself asking people that you newly meet? I know I used to. Like, what else would you want to connect with them? So what do you do for a living, right? Who are your parents? Or maybe it's, where do you live? So you're, we're judging them based on, what their identities are, how they identify themselves. So, we're close to the end of this lesson. On page 9, it says here that by aligning with the warrior goddess wisdom, you have given yourself a big gift of choosing a pathway that will encourage you to face and clear out old power structures and reclaim your authenticity. You are not trying to take on the image of being someone that you are not. Instead, you are allowing your inner truth and beauty to be free from the weight of your fears and outdated beliefs. As you accept and honor yourself, you suddenly stop needing to be different, and you see the unique, perfect creation that you already are. All of you is magnificent, even the parts that you wish were different. So at the end of each lesson, there are like lesson resources and then and gifts. So I'm just going to kind of look through here and see which, and exploration. So like there's exercises to work on. So let's see. So the questions, here's a couple of questions, and you can give me answers in the comments if you would like. I love that. Do you find your self-worth in how you look, or your self-worth an inner spring based on your self-acceptance and respect? Do you base your value on how well you are taking care of everyone else at the expense of yourself? Or do you honor the importance of self-care and loving boundaries? And then, does your strength come from how much money you have, how sexy you are, or who you know? Or does it flow from your inner peace and resilience? I invite you to pay attention and just become aware. And please do so without judgment. So we really want to be aware of our thought patterns, but we want to do it without judging ourselves. So don't beat yourself up if you catch yourself in an old thought pattern or an old belief system. And then the final exercise here, this is a beautiful one. And it was actually really hard for me for a few years to do, many years actually. So female role models. She asks us, who are your role models? Who do you strive to be like? This can be teachers, family members, fictional characters from movies or TV, public or private women. Role models and mentors are very important to inspire us, to give us the courage to take risks. So honor these women who inspire you for their contribution and wisdom, but recognize that you are not going to be just like them. So don't use them against yourself. I would love to hear who some of your female role models are and why they are your role models. One of the other notes that I have here, and this is from earlier on in the chapter, but I also would invite you to notice how you feel reading magazines or watching commercials on TV, or maybe watching even shows or movies on TV, because of the message that is given to us through the advertisement or the articles through the show, which is usually that we're not good enough just the way that we are. We need this shampoo, or we need to do this, or we need to, have this clothing to look our part, or that we're aging and we are supposed to still look 20, and why don't we? So notice how you feel watching or seeing those messages, and are you aware of those messages? So it's been interesting for me since starting this journey. I said goodbye to TV for many years. I watch it again now, and I have in the last couple of years, but it's very limited and it's from a different place. So now when I see those commercials or that message come across in the show or the movie, I actually laugh about it because I'm seeing the message from a different place, and it doesn't penetrate me anymore. Um, so it's quite interesting. So I look forward to hearing about your journey with this part, and I'm curious if it makes you step away as well from the television for some period. Yeah. So thank you for joining me on this journey. This again is lesson 1 of Warrior Goddess training, and commit to you. This is a hard one, especially because we don't take care of ourselves. We take care of everyone else first, and then what's left over we get, and there's usually not anything left over. But what I have found since I've started this journey, and I've started that journey of just self-love and acceptance and sweet loving boundaries, is that my cup is full. I'm still doing like all the same things that I've done in the past. I actually do more now, but it's from a different place, a different energetic, and my cup is full. So because I love myself, that love is overflowing into my world, and it flows into the people in my world, my friends, my family, my little grandbabies, and so like spending the time to go and run an errand for my daughter isn't hard on me anymore because there's boundaries, and I say no when I can't. But I also say I can't do that right now, but I can do it in an hour or tomorrow. So, yeah, that is what it looks like committing to you. It is getting honest with yourself, acknowledging and becoming aware of where you are identifying your power, where you are getting your power, your energy force from. Have a beautiful day, and thank you for being on this journey with me.